Hey, what's up guys, Slickmuff here, back again with another video. I just got back from Murder on the Orient Express, starring Daisy Ridley, Johnny Depp, Michelle Pfeiffer, a bunch of other people, John Gad, whatever the hell his name is, the one in Beauty and the Beast, who's in Frozen 2, evidently, or was in Frozen 1, whatever. We're going to talk about this film in all full spoiler glory. So, we're going to talk about the reveal of this whodunit movie, and to me that's the most fun thing to part about movies like this, you know, murder mysteries, whodunit stories, and it was interesting because I looked it up on YouTube, and there's pretty much no reviews quite like the one I'm about to do. There might be a few, but not very many. So, let me give you my thoughts. We are going to spoil the film, so unless you've already seen the movie, or you just don't care, be sure to click away now before I spoil this film for you, and it is a great, great movie, so I would recommend that, you know, you click off if you haven't already seen it. But anyway, you have been warned. Let's get into it. So, the end of this movie was absolutely shocking to me. It was unpredictable in every way, even in the way that I was thinking that I did know it when I really didn't. And anyway, I'm just gonna say it. So again, last warning. So, as it turns out, Detective Poirot revealed at the end of the film that every single one of the 12 suspects was the murderer. In an amazing reveal, the last act of this film is just so fast-paced and amazing and well done, and I did not see this coming at all. Now, I will say, when Michelle Pfeiffer was stabbed in the back, literally, by the doctor, I said at that moment, Michelle Pfeiffer is the murderer. She's trying to stage it against herself. She's the one that did it. But, as it turns out, I was only really half right. And really, in every way, everybody's predictions were correct. Because if you're like, oh, I think this person did it, or I think this person did it, well, you're right, because everybody did it. Now, it's unclear if it actually took 12 stabs to kill Johnny Depp. I don't think that that's probably the case. So, maybe a few of the people towards the end, I think the doc was like the 10th to stab him. Maybe he was already dead by then. But you get the point. They all had a part to play in the murder. Now, there were still a few parts that I missed, like who drugged him. They might have explained that. Detective Pro might have explained that, but I didn't catch that necessarily. With that being said, though, this ending shocked me because, you know, it totally turns on your head the conventions of, you know, whodunit films and Clue and, you know, everything like this where you're expecting one person to do it, usually somebody that you're not expecting. And one of the things I thought was interesting about this film is that they basically set out very early who is going to be the person to die, and they actually went through with that. So when I saw the notes that Johnny Depp was, you know, we're watching you or whatever, I thought it was interesting how they basically picked out who was going to die. Usually in whodunit films and that sort of thing, it is a shock when the person dies, right? It's unexpected, it's just random. But this film was awesome. Now, I will say, in a few points, it was a little bit slow, in my opinion, just like a few scenes, but overall, as I said, very, very rewarding, and the last act was absolutely amazing, and as was the majority of the film. So, I want to explain once again why I totally love this ending, and like I said, it really, for me, was just unexpected. Michelle Pfeiffer was super suspicious to me, and when they were doing the reveal, and it was actually Daisy Ridley's character, Mary, I was like, something doesn't seem totally right to me that she's the one that did it. And then it turns out the doctor did it. And I thought this was the true reveal. I was like, the doctor did it. And I thought for sure they were not going to have him be the killer because, I don't know, he just seems like a nice guy. Almost too nice. Now, always in these murder mysteries, they're going to lead you astray. So they're going to give you a character like a Satan worshiper. In the case of this movie, there's somebody that's like a Satan worshiper or something like that. I don't know. That wears like all black, and it's like, oh, I could totally see you killing somebody. But that person's never going to be it. So the person that it's blatantly obvious it is going to be is not the murderer, pretty much in every case. So first of all, for me, the best part of this film was Detective Poirot, and the reason being is that I thought that his motives at first were a little bit iffy to me because when the person initially dies, he's like, no, I'm not going to deal with that shit, which to me was a little bit offsetting because I was like, well, you're the best detective in the world. You should want to get to the bottom of it and figure out who did it. But also, I feel like he wasn't particularly keen to figure this out because he didn't really like Johnny Depp. Okay, so he kind of got weird vibes from him. He knew that he was a criminal. Right, so with that being said, I think he was kind of like indifferent. Now, if it was somebody innocent, then maybe he would have gotten right on it. But I really like the motivation as to why he actually decided to take on the case, because the, what's his name, whatever, one of the owners of the train, the son of the owner, basically he was like, you know, basically the doctor is going to be hung because he's, you know, the one black guy on the train, and he's probably going to be presumed guilty, even though he probably is not, which he turned out to be, interestingly. But anyway, so as it turns out, this is the reason that he takes the case, and at the very end of the film, it turns out that he took a case in Egypt as well, so he is turning right back around to go back to the Middle East, to Egypt, right next to Israel, where he was at the beginning of the film, and he's just going to turn back around and go solve another case. So he also talked about how he wasn't going to kill anybody, and he wasn't going to try any of them, because it really poses some interesting questions about morality and justice that are, you know, a little too heavy-handed for them to address, right, in the length of the film. Very heavy-handed questions about justice and vengeance and revenge and those sort of things that at least made me think on the car ride home about, was this justified, and should he have prosecuted them? Because a murder is a murder, you know. In the United States, for instance, if somebody killed, you know, a loved one of mine, and I kill that person, let's say, it's still illegal. You can't do that. It's, you know, you can't take the law into your own hands, go, you know, all Punisher on them or whatever. So that's obviously illegal. With that being said, though, is Detective Perot going to turn all of them in and have them all go to jail and probably be hung for murder, when in fact they can't necessarily prove that Johnny Depp was the one that that killed him, killed the family of people, even though he clearly did and everybody knew it. So that's really interesting, and the idea that Detective Perot, who obviously is amazing at solving murders, although in this one he really struggled with it up until the very end, and it was very complex, maybe a little bit too complex at some points. With all the interviews, maybe got a little bit confusing, at least for me, maybe. You know, it wasn't an issue for some of it. Not too bad, but a few points. And in many ways, this conclusion was actually, now that I think about it, foreshadowed with 12, you know, plunges going into his chest, 12 suspects, which I didn't actually count, okay, so that's kind of my fault. And moreover, I was really scared they were going to do a cop-out, and it was going to be like a character that we didn't really know, like the conductor of the train. And I hate when murder mysteries do that, and they did not do that at all. They did something that I've never seen before. Everybody is guilty, and everybody gets away free. And this is basically everybody deems, yeah, Johnny Depp was a shitbag. We're going to let this go unpunished, even though you guys all killed him. Probably shouldn't have done that. You know, you've all been hurt in your own ways, and you could see that girl who was just, like, mortified every day that, you know, Johnny Depp's character was going to come kill him, or excuse me, kill her, and now she doesn't have to be on drugs or anything like that. So really, I think that Detective Perot saw, that him dying really actually lifted a huge weight off of the lives of all these people, and is going to make all their lives better as innocent people, even though they all killed him. So they're not really innocent, but they're innocent in their own way and enacting vengeance. And it poses some really interesting questions, some very big philosophical questions, kind of in a weird way, even though the film isn't particularly, you know, philosophical, let's say. But the ending kind of is, and I really like that. So overall, once again, shocking ending for me. Absolutely loved it. If you called that every single one of them was a murder, I'm going to call BS on you. I'm just going to say, who did you think was the killer? That's the question of the day in the comments. Leave it down below. Again, I thought it was Michelle Pfeiffer. And again, everybody's predictions are right, at least partially. Okay, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. My name is Slickmoff. I'll see you guys in the next one.